Hi, and welcome to Feature Fridays. My name is Guy Bartram, Director of Product Marketing at VMware for our cloud providers. And I'm joined today by Sashi again. Sashi, thank you very much for coming. Do you want to just introduce yourself for those who haven't seen you before?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Sachi. I'm Technical Product Manager with VMware. I'm focusing on integration of Tanzu portfolio with VMware Cloud Director, and I'm looking at App Launchpad for developer-ready clouds.
And we're here to talk about one aspect of dev-ready clouds today, right? And App Launchpad, which has been around for quite a while now, but specifically App Launchpad SaaS, which is new.
Yes, it went live last week, in last week of April, and it's now generally available through Cloud Partner Navigator. And I'm here to talk about what's new in App Launchpad service.
Cool. So let's start with your presentation then.
Sure. So we'll look at what is App Launchpad service, what cloud endpoints are managed, what's the user persona, what are the different use cases that App Launchpad is trying to solve for the providers. And we'll look at how they can automate using the APIs and manage multiple versions. So let's get started. So our end goal is to have the developers deploying all kinds of applications on different type of cloud endpoints, and they should be able to, vision is that they should be able to launch the workloads on any cloud endpoints, any infrastructure, any type of workload. Yeah. How we do it with VMware Cloud Provider, and specifically today we are going to discuss App Launchpad, because that provides the modern developer experience by providing developer the single click ability to launch any application that's been published to them through Bitnami catalog, through any specific or user configured Helm chart, any container applications, anything that can be launched on VMware Cloud Director or on Cloud Director service or different type of cloud endpoints, which we'll discuss later.
Yeah, so the really cool thing here is that whilst we've got, Cloud Director there delivering the infrastructure, and we've got tenant admins kind of looking after that from a workload, vApp, network security perspective. Now we've obviously got Tanzu, which introduces clusters as a service and Kubernetes. But then you've also got this kind of third persona, which is the developer, right? He doesn't know anything about the infrastructure necessarily running underneath there. Doesn't want to know about the security and the networking, doesn't care about those sort of things. All they want to do is develop and use applications to create more modernized apps. So the great thing about App Launchpad, in my mind, has always been that as a user, I'm getting like a hyperscale type of service. I'm getting like a simple select and click, and everything else, all of the underlying networking security and everything else is already pre-created, or curated is the word, by the tenant admin or the service provider. So it really does then open up a different kind of experience that service providers can offer to their customers and start appealing to developers.
That is exactly the problem App Launchpad solved. And the App Launchpad service is providing enhanced experience for provider as well. Let's look at how it happens. So earlier we still have App Launchpad as an extension on VMware Cloud Director platform. We integrated Cloud Marketplace with VMware Cloud Director, so providers can manage the catalogs, import Bitnami catalog within VMware Cloud Director, so they don't have to log into Cloud Marketplace to manage them. Now we are moving one step further to App Launchpad service. So providers can manage catalogs for all of their customers, all of the cloud endpoints from single place. And it provides many capabilities. Right now it's running on the Cloud Partner Navigator, and service is highly available. And it's these are the major use cases. First one is we provide very variety of cloud endpoints. So as a developer, you can launch the VM workloads on VMware Cloud on SDDC as well. You deploy workload on Cloud Director service. The Cloud Director service is offered through, say, VMC on AWS, VMC on Google Cloud, things like that. And on top of that, we can also manage on-prem VMware Cloud Director instances through App Launchpad service.
So Sashi, just to kind of summarize then, so can you go back a slide? There was a global kind of footprint slide.
Yeah. So this is App Launchpad service, which is running on VDP, and this is where the two regions where the HA happens.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that's HAs, but there's nothing wrong with someone in Europe, for example, using App Launchpad service. They can
no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. No. And the other thing is that when we say the VMware Cloud Marketplace, what we're talking about is Bitnami and whatever else is in the marketplace, like third-party vendors and stuff like that. But yeah, the really cool thing for a cloud provider to bear in mind is not only is this portfolio at zero cost to them, they get the whole of the cloud marketplace, the Bitnami cloud marketplace for free. They can use as much of it as they like. But all those Bitnami apps have been tested by Bitnami, or now VMware. They are security tested and functionally tested before they're published to the Bitnami catalog. And we maintain a number of versions of applications. So essentially, this is like, you can now, and the other thing I wanted to just point out is ALP 1.0 and 2.x was great on a single premise. But when you wanted to have like a dual site, or you wanted to have different regions with Cloud Director, there was no ability to replicate the catalogs between you, virtually setting up something new in each site, right? And this is what App Launchpad service solves. It becomes that single point global catalog, which is absolutely awesome, basically. So you don't have to worry about that replication.
That is correct. So we bring in a concept of global application catalog management. So through App Launchpad service, we create a catalog and globally, and then we have control over where you want to synchronize that catalog on which cloud endpoint. So if you are onboarding second site after first site and third and fourth and fifth, you can simply publish that catalog to a new cloud endpoint, and that catalog will be available to you. You don't have to install and manage extension on each site and create the same catalog all over again.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah. And what this brings in is the faster time to market for cloud providers, because now you have set up the App Launchpad service. You have set up the customers. All you are doing is bringing on that new cloud endpoint and publishing the catalogs. So to onboard a new customer from App Launchpad point of view is very fast, because the prerequisite has already been satisfied for App Launchpad, and customers, once they have access to the new infrastructure, they can just simply go and launch the workloads on the new cloud endpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And the other one is we have enhanced the tenant admin user role. So not only providers can manage the catalog, but customers also can create and manage their own catalogs locally if they would like. So there are few providers who wanted to give ability to their customers to have their own catalog through App Launchpad. It is now available through App Launchpad service.
So tell me, Sashi, if I'm, so is the user experience now, is this, ALP, App Launchpad is now a SaaS product. So I'm guessing they're going to the SaaS platform to access it, and not necessarily going to their Cloud Director instance or the Cloud Director portal like they used to do in App Launchpad 2.0.
Yeah, so there are two ways. One is for providers, they can access App Launchpad service on Cloud Partner Navigator through Cloud Partner Navigator. And customers can also launch their workloads through App Launchpad service on Cloud Partner Navigator. On top of that, for VCD on-prem, we are maintaining that user experience for developers to actually go to their choice of VCD site and then launch the workload using the App Launchpad service. So we look at in the demo that we can also onboard VCD and have customers still use VCD to launch their workloads even with App Launchpad service.
That sounds awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah. So these are the prerequisites for the VMware Cloud Director service and VMC on SDDC. This is not a requirement for the on-prem VCD. So I think we have reviewed this in the past. So I'll just move forward with these. So this is one-time onboarding for App Launchpad service itself, where you onboard the cloud resources, create the catalog, import the applications, define the sizing templates, and then you publish the first catalog. And this completes the onboarding. If you see, this is very similar to the App Launchpad extension user experience. So the learning curve, we are trying to minimize that. And you can provide the global catalog using App Launchpad service. So you can see here, you can have all types of different cloud endpoints, including on-prem. So this is really powerful for few providers or like anyone who is having multiple sites and they don't have to replicate the catalogs manually on each site anymore. And for the customer, they can really leverage those and even filter those applications based on the catalogs that has been published to them to launch the workloads.
So I'm sure you've had this question already, but VCD's got a catalog of services, which is the traditional catalog it's always had. ALP now has a catalog, and previously, it was a bit of a challenge because VCD catalog syncs between VCD instances and you configure synchronization and things like that, whereas ALP didn't. Now ALP can be used globally anywhere. Do you think there's a desire for for providers to start using ALP as a single catalog and not worry about using the VCD catalog anymore?
That is possible because now synchronization will happen through App Launchpad service. So once you have published the catalog through App Launchpad service, that is, you can always synchronize the resources and manage the different cloud endpoints on demand basis. So it is possible to manage all the catalogs using the App Launchpad service, because you can also not only the cloud marketplace, but you can also upload the traditional applications using OVA on the App Launchpad service. And
does App Launchpad then keep, if you've got VCD on-prem and you've got ALP installed on-prem as the extension, does ALP SaaS then keep a sync down at the local instance of the application stack?
Yeah, so once you publish the catalog from App Launchpad service, it's going to have the local copy of the catalog on the site you have selected. I think we can look at that in the demo, where once you synchronize it, you can actually localize that catalog on each and every site, and you as a provider, you have control over it.
Okay, so that would be, if you've got large images or stuff, you don't want to be pulling them across the internet all the time. You do a one-time sync and then it'd be available. So yeah, it'd be perfect for like OVFs really and anything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. And for the global catalog, the user experience is that here there are two things. One is publish to customer and the other one is sync to resources. So when you publish it to customer, you can select the number of customers who are going to use this, and sync to resources is the one responsible for managing the endpoints. So here you can define, if you have say 5 sites, you can select only one site and synchronize that catalog to only one site. So what happens is all other 4 sites are not going to download the catalog. So that saves some resources on the remaining 4 sites.
So
right.
tell me, so customers need to be manually onboarded into the global catalog, or are they pulled from the site instances of VCD and CDS?
So over here, the site instances will be activated on App Launchpad service. And then when it's not going to be downloaded by default on any of the sites. You have to select which site you want to synchronize the resources to.
Okay, so to publish to customers here isn't to publish to specific customers. It's just a yes or no, and then sync it down to the site.
Yeah, so over here, if you have say 10 customers and you want to select a specific catalog to say customer 1, you have control to publish that to specific customer. Now this customer may be having multiple sites access. So over there you have the magic happens where you have control over, say, for customer Acme, I want to publish catalog only on site 1, not on site 2 and site 3.
So my question was, does Acme have to be manually onboarded into the App Launchpad SaaS, or is it pulled from the site that Acme is a customer?
Oh, yeah. So that's you as a App Launchpad service has to have the customers onboarded when we enable the service on the App Launchpad SaaS.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah.
And yeah. And then once you synchronize it, you can select the sites and publish the catalog. Now, let's see how to onboard on-prem VMware Cloud Director. So, like I said, we have 2 options. One is the cloud resources and the other one is on-prem resources. So cloud resources are synchronized, or you can activate them through Cloud Partner Navigator. And for on-prem, since we are going to activate it in 2 different ways. One is, sorry, I think I already covered this guy in the previous Feature Friday. So can we skip this part?
Yeah, sure, no worries.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just go to the VCD on-prem use case because that's what I want to highlight. Yeah. So for cloud provider to onboard on-prem VMware Cloud Director, we are going to use the transporter OVA mechanism. So to do that, we generate an OVA from App Launchpad service by definition and add the definition of your site, on-prem VCD site, and we install that OVA on that specific site, install the transporter VM, and then from that point on, your transporter OVA is going to help install the App Launchpad service extension onto the VCD and have the connection to the App Launchpad service, and then synchronize the catalog to those sites.
Okay, so it's a new component, the transporter VM that needs to be deployed.
Yeah. So this is all automated through cloud, the App Launchpad service itself. Additional requirement is that you download and install OVF tool from It's an available tool from VMware, and you can just simply copy and paste that command when you generate the transporter OVA to the OVF tool and then install it. It's a single click utility on a cloud provider end.
Okay.
And this is needed only for the VMware Cloud Director instances, which are not have blocked the inbound access to the VCD sites. So if you have public facing URL, we don't need to install the transporter OVA, but this is mainly for the VCD sites which are which have blocked the inbound access to the VCD portal.
Right.
And similarly, if you want to onboard a second site, you generate another OVA for site B, and then install the another VM, and then that will install the second extension on the other site. Sure. So at this point, still cloud provider is accessing App Launchpad service to manage catalogs, but developers who are used to having App Launchpad extension, they can still access it through the VCD portal. They don't have to go to App Launchpad service to actually access the App Launchpad service.
Okay.
So user experience for developers remains the same.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the journey of on-prem VCD. So these are the
question for you. Sashi, are we gonna so on the previous slide, is that a push or a pull of the sync? Just thinking about isolated environments where security is a concern.
Yeah, so this is still going to pull the catalog. It's still going to synchronize with App Launchpad service.
Cool.
And that's why we introduced the transporter OVA.
Got it.
Okay. And over here, so for on-prem VCD with public-facing URL, it is straightforward. You provide the endpoint URL, the credentials, and login. However, for on-prem VCD with not having the inbound access, we are generating the OVF. We will need API token from your Cloud Partner Navigator, which is to generate the API token and authenticate App Launchpad service to install this. It's going to use this token to actually communicate with the App Launchpad service.
Yeah, yeah.
And you copy this, install this OVA, and trust the connection from your transporter OVA to VCD. And after that, you install the certificate, and then you log into your VCD site.
Okay.
Okay. And that will give you on-prem App Launchpad site as a, sorry, on-prem VCD site as another cloud endpoint on the VMware Cloud Director.
On the App Launchpad SaaS, yeah, okay.
Okay. And let's look at some user personas. I think we all know about provider admin, which is going to manage catalogs, manage global catalogs, manage user personas, things like that. Now we are also adding tenant admin user role. We are adding few more capabilities there. So the tenant admin can manage the Helm chart, manage the local catalog for them, and they can also customize the default settings, things like that. So I'm logging into Cloud Partner Navigator as a cloud provider admin user role. And over here, I can select my user, the organization. And from there, I can select the App Launchpad service. So you can navigate to services and click on App Launchpad. And this will bring us to the App Launchpad service portal for the cloud provider. And over here, you can see there are 4 tabs. The home screen shows the dashboard describing the number of customers, the number of applications being launched by the service, the statistics, and the resources. So this gives a good overview to cloud providers about like who are your customers and how many applications, container based or VM based, all of them are launched. And to showcase the global catalog management, we can go to the content management, and there we can create VM or container based catalogs. And to create a new catalog, we can just provide a name, select the type, and decide which cloud endpoint you want to share this catalog to. So this is the, for example, I'm creating VM-based catalog, and here I can add applications to it. So you can select the catalog to which you want to add the applications to. Select the marketplace or the OVF URL. So if a provider has any specific custom OVF for their VM-based application, they can provide that as well. And just like before, you can have the API authentication token added to App Launchpad service to add the connect to the VMware marketplace. And over here, you can select the applications. Now you can see there are multiple versions available over here. You can pick and choose for your customer's need, and to add those applications, and you can select here two options. One is auto sync is activated. It means whenever there is a new version of that application is available, it's going to update that. And the next one is the it will also override the details of the existing app version. So you will always see the latest version when you are adding it to the catalog. So optionally you can select. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask how many versions can you preserve? So that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, you can select up to 5 versions for your customers, which is the enhancement we have introduced recently. So this gives customers flexibility about like which version they can select.
Can you tell, is there any way of viewing what versions are in production at the moment?
So here, which version is in production?
A customer might have downloaded, I don't know, 1.2, but we now might be at 1.9, and there wouldn't be, there wouldn't be a 1.3 available for them because you were preserving the last 5.
Yeah.
So it would be really important for me as a provider to communicate to them that they, maybe you can't jump from 1.2 to 1.9, you have to go to 1.3 then 1.4. And is there a way of me as a provider understanding what versions are currently being used from App Catalog?
Not from the catalog. You can see the existing catalog and their versions through the catalog management. So right now we are just adding that. We can check that in the applications list here. Let's check it.
Okay. And just one more question for you. You had a catalog type for VM or container, so you can't have one catalog with both.
Yes, that is correct.
Right. Yeah.
So here, if you have new, so right now you can see I have multiple applications which has an option called auto update to latest, and some of them have versioning. So you can see that I had say launched or added this catalog at 9.1.13 version, and you can see how many latest versions are available over here.
Yeah, and how fast these versions, I guess it depends on the application, but you could be in a very fast iteration cycle for certain applications. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Yes, that depends on application to application. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe best to kind of keep a very limited choice for your tenants in terms of the versions, and just be as a cloud provider understanding what the upgrade path is for those versions. So you don't just list, the top 5 and then continually update without having some consideration about how the tenants will need to upgrade to the latest versions.
Yes, and again, these versions are for the catalog management. When a user is launching an application, for users, there is no way to update the existing or launched application to a latest version. What they
Yeah.
usually do is just launch a newer version of the same application.
Yeah, and then migrate the data in. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, and also wanted to show the global catalog management. So over here, the catalog we created, we can publish it to the customers. Now over here, we have multiple options. One is the cloud endpoints, SDDCs, and on-prem endpoints. So you can actually select which endpoints you want to publish this catalog to. So right now, I have published it to customer Acme. And then once this is done, I can actually, once the publishing operation is successful, I can actually synchronize it to local resources. So for example, in this case, Acme customer has uh, uh, multiple sites, be it on CDS or CDI or SDDC. So I can pick and choose where I want to publish this catalog to. So this will save some resources or multiple synchronization of the catalog on multiple cloud endpoints.
So you can sync it to the endpoints themselves, or you can sync it to an instance of App Launchpad running in Cloud Director on a local instance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So for example, this catalog, if I publish it into on-prem VCD, then the synchronization task will replicate the content of the catalog on the on-prem VCD only, not on the other cloud endpoints.
Got it.
Okay. So that's cloud management, the global catalog management and multiple versioning of the applications. Now let's look at the settings tab. And over here, we have multiple things to see. One of them is the roles and rights. Now we have two user personas for the customer. One is the tenant admin and the other one is tenant user. In tenant admin role, we can allow the tenant admin to actually create and manage their own catalog on their customer organization level. So, and you can control the rights for this specific user role. And similarly, you can define your own tenant user role from the cloud provider App Launchpad portal.
So this presents, because I was sorry to interrupt you, this presents a nice offering for a catalog as a service, where you can just supply an instance of ALP or access to ALP to a tenant admin, and he can then self-serve his organization, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, and we will also log into the tenant portal once I complete this and look at what the tenant admin user persona is going to see. And last but not the least, I also want to show you the onboarding of on-prem Cloud Director to App Launchpad service, because it's a little bit different for on-prem, because that's something new we have built. So for that, I have, there are two options. One is onboarding the VCD, which has the public facing URL, and and it allows the inbound connection from App Launchpad service. So here there are two ways to onboard VMware Cloud Director. One is if you have inbound access to App Launchpad service portal from, if VCD has inbound access available, or if it's a private VCD, we can onboard it in a different way. So in this example, I have my VCD with public facing URL, and over there, I'll be taking that endpoint URLs URL over here, validate the certificate, and register it as on-prem resource. Now, once that is done, you need to activate it. So this will establish the successful connection. You'll have to log in, and this will create the App Launchpad service user persona, and it's a service organization where we are going to publish the catalogs from App Launchpad service. Here you can select your storage profile as well and look at the activity on the activity log. And once this is done, you can see your on-prem cloud resource as activated. And from this point on, you can start publishing applications from App Launchpad service. And for tenant user, the user experience is kind of same. They don't have to log into App Launchpad service. They can actually launch the applications from on-prem VCD instance itself. So here I'm logged into as a tenant admin user role. So initially I will see that this is not linked correctly. It's because I haven't created my ECME customer over there. I haven't linked my organization for the tenant. So to do that, we can go to the customer management and create our customer to the VCD, on-prem VCD. And from that point on, you can see the App Launchpad service on the VCD itself as a tenant. And over here, you can see the whole dashboard and all the tenant admin user persona related stuff. So this is the onboarding for public facing URL. And the other one is the for VCD, which does not allow the inbound connection from App Launchpad service. And here you can see that I can also publish and manage the catalog from the tenant portal from on-prem VCD itself. And the other one is for the private VCD. So over here, you can say no to inbound access, and then you can provide the URL to generate the reverse proxy. Now, to generate the reverse proxy, you will need that authentication token from your Cloud Partner Navigator account and generate a new token. And use that token to connect to your VCD. And once this proxy client is generated, you can download this on your local machine where you have installed the OVF tool. And in this example, I have a private VCD where I already downloaded the OVF, and I have already installed the OVF tool. And I have deployed the OVF tool using this command over here. And that describes the way you, so it's just a simple command that will have some parameters related to your vSphere, and it's documented on the VMware documentation. And once you deploy that OVF, once that VM is powered on your vSphere server, you can now activate it just like we did before, and that will create that ALP user account service role on the on-prem VCD instance. So this point on, your App Launchpad will communicate with your VCD using this proxy connection.
Got it.
Okay. So
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is very convenient, and this is one-time process for our providers to onboard the VCD instances.
Yeah.
Okay. And similarly to what we saw before, we can publish the extension to your customers, and they can start using App Launchpad service from their on-prem VCD instance itself. Okay. So, and similarly, I didn't create that user role over here. So we'll go to the customer management and publish our new, we'll link our organization to that on-prem VCD. And from that point on, you can start using your customer user account from the on-prem VCD. Okay, now I'll be logging in as the tenant admin user to my organization called Technic. And this user role is tenant admin user role.
Just logging into Cloud Partner Navigator, right?
Yes, to access the App Launchpad service portal. You can also directly access the service using elp.vmware.com. If you want to bypass the CPN. And all these functionalities are automatable using the service API, and you can log on to our API interface to use it using Swagger. And coming back to tenant admin user persona, I'm launching the App Launchpad service. And just like providers, we also have a dashboard for tenants. And also we also have the statistics for runtime for the customer organization for all the cloud endpoints. And you can see the usage of all the resources based on different time values over here.
Okay.
And it will show you all the running instances, available applications, and things like that. Now, as a tenant admin, you also get to see the content management, and you can create your own catalog over here and add your own applications. The user experience is just like what we saw on the provider endpoint, but this will be localized to the customer acne, and then they can also decide where they want to synchronize this resource on which cloud endpoint over here.
Okay.
For tenant admin user, they will definitely see this marketplace where they can, just like before, they can click and launch the application with single click on whatever cloud endpoint. And as a tenant admin user, you can see whatever applications are launched by your multiple tenant admin users. And they can also manage the Kubernetes clusters. And over here, you can inject any cluster which is CNCF conformant, which satisfies the CNCF conformance. And so as a tenant user, you can bring your own kind cluster, or they can have production grade Tanzu Kubernetes cluster from VCD environment. So to attach a new cluster, they can provide the cluster name, define the Kubernetes cluster version, and over there, they can get this agent to link and attach it to the cluster. So what that will do is install the App Launchpad service agent, and that point on, this cluster will be available for all the tenant users to be available to launch the container-based applications.
That's
And
very cool. Yeah.
yeah, and you can also set the sizing templates, the deployment settings for each user, set your own list of featured applications, add your own Helm chart repo. So this is all going to be very helpful. So provider can scale out or give the all these management capabilities to tenant admin for their needs. And obviously, we can customize this whole view as well in terms of the setting the banner and things like that. So
Yeah.
all those things you can do as a tenant admin.
Okay. So it looks like then there's some great opportunity here for cloud providers to drive much more consumption of their platform, whether it's the Kubernetes side of the platform with TKG, or if it's the kind of the vSphere base with VCD, or even both, and drive much more control to their, give much more control to their tenants to be in control of those services. Yes. I think it does come with a certain level of kind of responsibility if you are going to hand that out to tenants, in terms of one of the things that kind of is still quite concerning for me is those versions of the applications. And once you've got, a tenant in production on 1.2, the tenant really needs to be made aware that there's 1.3 available, 1.4 available, 1.5 available, and keep up with those upgrades so they keep pace with the sync that's going to be coming from the cloud marketplace, perhaps.
I see. That's a very good point, and we can discuss that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the kind of things to look at next time. It's like, can we provide some visibility into what deployed versions are lagging, behind? Because the upgrade path, like you say, right, it's deploy new and migrate across. But there'll be kind of support implementations to impact potentially on some of these applications that aren't open source. Well, Sashi, thank you very much. I mean, it's been really interesting to see the ALP journey, right? We've gone from being a kind of standalone plugin to now being a SaaS solution with global sync, with, catalog as a service, and, the whole kind of marketplace and custom and VMs, and now Helm charts and containers, and TKG as an endpoint, which is great, which is going to help a lot of service providers kind of drive their adoption of TKG. Thank you very much. I think it's been a really interesting journey. I look forward to see where ALP goes in the future.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Cheers.